depending on how old the house is.
Right, let's answer this question, right? So this question will determine, is the EAS more valuable for the customer, or is the tune-up more valuable for the customer? So what are we listening for on how old is the house? Yeah, less than 10 or greater than 10? Why 10?
10 is when it starts to get old.
10's when, so some settling may be happening.
In 2009, they raised the standard for insulation.
Correct. Building code from 2000, and really it was about 2004 on. Really, we could probably argue that this should be 15 years, right? But from about 2004 on, the building code went from like little to no insulation at all required to 12 inches, right? Now, what does energy code require for insulation?
6.
Try again. 20. So energy code says we need 20 inches of insulation. Today's building code says we need 12 inches. Anything before 2000, for easy number, said you needed like 2 inches, right? So any older home really is going to value more and get more value from an insulation and a free attic evaluation, because there's probably really some true issue going on there. And if they have little to no insulation, what's that going to do? We're going back to high energy bills, right? They're probably going to have high energy bills, and we get to have those same set of questions to qualify that customer. Now, if the house is less than 10 years old, right, it's up to building code, it's probably good to go. What are we going to sell? A tune-up, right? Take EAS off the table. Don't even worry about it. Just go right into the question that we ask here, right? When was the last time you had your annual maintenance? Hey, great. Sounds like you had a newer house, newer system. Congratulations. Let's make sure that thing lasts for you. When's the last time you had your annual maintenance? And in most of those scenarios, that's probably when you're going to hear the never, right? Newer homes with newer systems, right? That's probably when you're going to hear the never, right? And then if it's over 10 years old, what are we going to ask? What's our again, this is about progression, right? Does the quarterback, once his main receiver is covered, does he just, I don't know what I'm going to do, right? I guess I'll throw it in the ground, the play's over, right? He's going to throw a check down, right? He's going to hit the other route going on the out, right? That's what this is. This is your out route or your check down route, right? So what question are we, right? The quarterback just has to throw the ball, right? Our job's a little harder than the quarterbacks, right? We actually got to talk to people and sell them something. So what question are we going to ask them? To bring up EAS and engage, right? This is all about engagement, right? This whole section that we're talking about, all this chart is the E in the process. We're still on the E. We've never left the E, right? So if it's a, let's just use an example. Say it's a 20-year-old house built in 2000. So how old's your system? 3 years. Wow. Okay, great. So you got a newer system. How old's the house it's in? 20 years. Okay, gotcha. Did you have? What are you going to say? So you got a 20-year-old house and a 3-year-old system. What are we going to say? How are we going to engage that customer into an EAS conversation? Ooh, that's good, right? Did you hear that? Well, hey, I would ask, well, did you have to put that system in yourself, or did you buy the house? How long have you lived in the house, right? Oh, I had to put the system in. We put it in 3 years ago. Oh, perfect. Did you do the other side? The other side, or the other half? What do you mean the other half? Well, yeah, did they go ahead and upgrade the attic and get the attic into energy condition? I don't know what you're talking about. Right, customers, everybody ever use it, they get, what are you talking about, right? So that's a great way to do it. So did you do the other half? Right, so when do we use that question? If what? If it's a newer system and what? And older house, and one more criteria. Newer system, older house, and that customer was the one that paid for the new system, right? It could be a scenario, 3-year-old system, 20-year-old house, he only moved into the house a year ago. So the prior owner did the AC upgrade? This question's not going to be relevant for him because he doesn't know, right? This customer doesn't know whether the other half was done or not, right? So we got to engage a little bit differently, right? How would we engage that customer around attic?
Ask him about the inspection.
Okay.
Ask him if the inspector mentioned anything about the attic.
Great, that's a great line, right? It's a new purchase, doesn't know anything about it, right? Well, let me ask you, did the inspector, when you had the house inspected, did he mention anything about a need in, lack of insulation or attic concerns? That's a great question. Okay. Did inspector, right? And why would there be an inspector involved with a new home purchase or a home purchase? It's required, right? You can't buy a house before having it inspected, right? It's a $500 inspection. It's not a certified technician, right? It's a guy that runs in and makes sure, is there insulation? Yes or no? Is there an AC? Yes or no? Is there a water heater? Yes or no, right? He's not checking those stuff out. He's just making sure it's all there, right? Making sure there's nothing crazy going on in the home. So the question is, did the inspector identify issues, right, in the attic? It's a great question. It's a great way to engage the customer, right? So let me give you another scenario. 20-year-old house, 8-year-old AC. AC's running great. He replaced the AC 8 years ago when he bought the house. So he bought the house 8 years ago and replaced it 8 years. Been in the house for 8 years. Right, what might be a good question for somebody that's not had to deal with that stuff for 8 years?
Highest energy bill.
What's your highest energy bill? So you can go kind of start fishing for the pain. There's one I'm fishing for, and I'll give it to you. Everybody write this one down. It's as simple as, when was your last attic inspection? Question mark. Hey, perfect. Hey, Mr. Customer, you got an older home, got a newer AC. It sounds like AC's in good control here. But let me ask you though, with that older home, when's the last time you had that attic inspection done? What do you mean attic inspection? And then what we're going to do, we're going to go right into it, right? Yeah, well, what we do, we come out absolutely free, right? We check your levels of insulation, check and see if you have that radiant barrier or not, check and see if that ventilation's working like it's supposed to. Oh, okay, got you. Well, great. What address am I sending the guy to, right? You might be able to close that quickly. Right? Most of them are going to be, well, yeah, I understand. What's all that going to do for me? And then you're going to go into the high energy bill, right? Well, yeah, so, obviously your house is your most important investment, right? And then go more into that script. So I would refer you back to the EAS script map, right? There's a script map for EAS, so they'll go into those more details. What we're talking about here is, how do we get the customer engaged, right? So, and those progressions. These are the three progressions that are key around EAS, right? And again, the biggest one is, how old is your house? Right? That's what we're really fishing for. And are we going to get in the house of an older system, either as an AOR, or are we going to come in the back door as a tune-up? If it's a newer system, is it an older house and we're going to go in as EAS, or is it a newer house and we're just going to go in as a tune-up? Everybody follow that? And again, I use the football analogy all the time, right? We got a lot of quarterbacks in here that are really good up to here. We got to make the Super Bowl, right? We got to be like Tom Brady and be able to navigate all the way over to here if this is how we got to get into the house. All right, I see some faces out there on Tom Brady, so must not have very many New England fans in here. But he is an amazing quarterback that does a great job and not afraid to use those checkdowns and work through those progressions. Right? So does anybody have any questions on this? Just follow it. Does it help? Does it make sense? Okay, you're gonna get more leads. Yes, let's get a verbal yes. Come on, yeah, let's get excited. We're going to get more leads, right? This is going to help us get more leads. So remember, this here is your tune-up bucket. This is your AOR bucket, all right? And this is your EAS bucket, right? And again, you're going to navigate between these three buckets, right? And we're just simply going to ask some questions along the way through our engagement, and through those questions, we're going to end up in the right bucket. right? And again, you're talking to 20 customers, you're approaching 20 people, 15 of them are homeowners. I promise you, if you are really hustling, you can get 1 lead an hour. 1 out of 15 people need one of these things. And if you can't get 1 every 15, at least get me 1 every 2. Out of 30 people, surely somebody needs one of these 3 things, right? They all need, this one, 100% of people need. 30% need this, and the other 30% probably need this, right? So between that portfolio, you ought to be able to sell a lot of people a lot of stuff. Make sense? Who's in? All right, good job. Let's make it happen.